The following podcast is a Next Level production.
What did you do?
Something I should have done a long time ago. This is a superhero company. Always has been. Belongs to us, not him. So I set things straight. That's all. Oh, and anyone who's been hiding behind his little apron, well, that's over now, too. It's a new day, people. It's the dawn of the seven.
Hey, panelists, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And I'm Rob.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about The Boys Season 3, Episodes 4, entitled Glorious 5, Your Plan, and Episode 5, entitled The Last Time to Look on This World of Lies. So we decided to double up and triple up on the actual podcast with people on. So, actually, Rob, why don't you talk about the synopsis of The Boys Season 3, Episode 4?
All right. Synopsis. So tonight streaming live exclusively for superporn.com, super subscribers. I don't know where they got this from. It's the Clash of the Dildos, or hashtag Clash of the Dildos, which of the 7 inspired dildos will crush the competitor in this tip-to-tip challenge? Will it be the reigning champion Homelander Star Spangled Banger or Starlight's electrified Star Braider? Join us as we put these pleasure-pounding penetrators through their paces, only on superporn.com. Wow, I never thought I would say that.
Me neither.
It's a combination of words we rarely see.
Exactly. And Steve, you could give us the second synopsis for episode 5.
Sure. The last time to look on this world of lies, episode 5 is, did you know chimpanzees are an endangered species largely because of human activity? But you can help by supporting construction costs for Crimson Countess's Chimp Country. This beautiful refuge for chimpanzees will feature a banana plantation, 4 daily stunt shows, and a petting zoo. And when you donate, you'll be entered to win a private video chat with Crimson Countess. Donate today.
And she will have Benoit balls ready at the Oh my goodness, that scene.
Wonderful Crimson Countess and the cameo by our own Seth Rogen.
Yep. All right. So that out of the way, we could actually start talking. What were our initial thoughts about both these? You could start with like the 4th and then go into the 5th, or just combine them all.
Don't all speak at once. I loved it. I love both of them. That the ending is 4 is. I was so glad that I kind of called it, that Soldier Boy was alive, and we got all the stuff that was set up in episode 3 that I talked about in the last podcast. We went to Russia. We got Soldier Boy. We got Huey taking the V, and the whole teleportation thing where he can't keep his clothes on when he teleports. It's kind of a bad side effect of that teleporting thing. But yeah, I loved it. 4 was great, and then 5, that segueing into 5 with that cliffhanger with Kimiko, and then all we got in 5 is just jam packed, not only with cameos, but with just some wonderful story moments that I hope we'll get to, and also some controversial stuff maybe.
Yeah. I agree.
I thought I have to be honest. I mean, The Boys has possibly turned out to be some of the best writing, especially for a superhero show that's out there. It's not that I'm putting down the MCU or anything like that, but the MCU has, played it safe, and they have done their thing their way, which in some cases it has worked and some hasn't. I haven't been a big fan of some of the stuff they've had on Disney Plus. But this is just some solid writing that I have seen from this show, and kudos to Amazon for having the balls to put something out like this.
Yeah, very similar to like with Invincible too, because it's not as extreme. It is a cartoon, but I'm just loving what they put out, and especially the gruesomeness. Now, the effects that go on is one thing, but the crazy, zany, sexual, exploitive things that we get out of this show just reminds me of Preacher when you and I covered that, Steve, a while ago. But this is on a next level. Yeah. Not to put a pun into it of where the network is. But, I do agree with you, Rob. It's some of the craziest of writing, but it's very well thought out with every episode and what they give us, because it leads into the next thought, and we do get questions answered by the next episode in comparison to, just leaving you hanging. And then some shows will be like, oh, well, we're going to do this at the very end of the season. Here's all your answers. Mm-hmm. But now we get these resolved by the next episode at least. And then something else happens that we have to question.
Exactly.
I do enjoy it. Yeah, the 2 episodes, we saw a little bit more of with Butcher and his making the deal with Nina, going out to Russia, Frenchie not being so sympathetic, but, concerned because of his association with Nina. And then his typical, protectiveness over Kimiko. And we do see that later on when she's sent in episode 5, going into, I guess you could call it the Russian king or mobster, that they get this information, and she gets stuck with all the hookers that are there, and results in that lovely fight.
That was an awesome scene.
That's in 4. That's in 4 because that's 4. Okay. That's what they owed Nina to get. And I was a little confused about a couple of things in this. If we try to separate the episodes, I'm not sure if we can.
Not really.
But they're going to blend. But in episode 4, I was a little confused, and I got even more confused in episode 5. But in 4, it seemed a little convenient that the CIA it gives Billy the money to pay back Nina for, Cherie's heroin theft, and also pay her a little extra to get them into Russia. But then they have to do this job in order to get the information of where the lab is. And then in episode 5, they just very easily get out, apparently, of Russia.
That is a good question.
But Nina's pissed at Frenchie because of what happened at the lab. Well, didn't they get the information about the lab from? That's where I was confused.
She definitely did give them the information. I guess it was understood that they wouldn't harm anybody or kill anybody at that point.
Yes, but
but obviously, how are they going to get in there and not really kill anybody? Yeah. You got a soup. You got somebody who is a 24-hour soup, and the other one who steals some drugs to be a 24-hour soup as well. And they're actually trying to get a weapon to destroy a soup, but which we find out is the soup himself that they had actually stole way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
that was actually pretty cool, because I thought that, everybody thinks, okay, you know what, there's a weapon out there for Homelander, that they could, so they could defeat Homelander. But then you kind of see that it's not that. It actually was that they took, what's his name? Yeah. Soldier Boy.
Right.
I still laugh at that name. But yeah, so they took Soldier Boy and they just experimenting on him, and and basically they just can't kill him, but they are experimenting on him in every possible way. So I'm very curious how Soldier Boy is going to become this weapon for Homelander, against Homelander.
Yeah, I think we got a hint of that because of his damage to Kimiko and how her wound does not heal, which we see in episode 5.
Right.
Right.
And that's why we get that whole elated musical scene that we get from her, because it's her fantasy and her feeling more human. And she talks about it too, of how she didn't want those powers, just like with Homelander's kid. And he even said it, I don't want these. And she says the same, like in signing or writing down. And, you know, she can feel that way. But the thing is that I think that Soldier Boy is going to be the weapon that they need. Because what a better way to stop Homelander if, like, take away his powers? What is he without his powers? Some sociopathic crazy person.
So here's a question for you guys, because I have never read the actual comic. So, and I don't know if you guys have, but my thought is, what if Soldier Boy all of a sudden teams up with Homelander? You know, so that would be a big clusterfuck there for the boys.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when these two actually clash, because they're so similar in their kind of outlook and just kind of the way they are and their powers and everything. And, you know, it was when I did my second watch today, I really picked up on the parallels between the conversation that Homelander has with Maeve, and this is in episode 5, but that Homelander has with Maeve and that Soldier Boy has with Crimson Countess, about where Maeve, you know, Maven's telling Homelander that she pities him and all this, and that she never loved him. And Crimson Countess basically says the same thing to Soldier Boy, is that I never loved you. You were always a misogynistic pig, basically. And, and I wanted she worked with the Russians to get him kidnapped, you know, because that was a whole left turn right there in episode 5, when Billy tells her that Soldier Boy is back, and she's like, how did he escape? And so suddenly Billy realizes that, oh, you were in on it, kidnapping him.
Right.
Yep. And they knew, and he just let Butcher goes, here, go ahead, talk to your girlfriend, you know. Before we move too far into 5, I want us to talk about a little bit about this plan that they have in 4 that ends up going completely awry because A-Train is such an idiot. You know, it's Alex kind of confides in him. Supersonic confides in A-Train of what they're going to do, and that ends up getting Alex killed at the end of the episode, when Homelander flies Starlight up there to the roof. And it's just one of those moments where you realize everything is just falling apart, and so they're going to have to regroup and figure out where to go from from here. And that's really what pushes them into this team up with Soldier Boy in episode 5, is the fact that they lose basically all their suit backup that they were going to get. And that's why Butcher wanted to use the V-24. That's why Huey is tempted, because he sees the high in it. So he's addicted to V-24 now.
Well, he saw Train Spotting, so he knows the deal.
Oh yeah, sure.
No, but I think it's just Huey's way of, you know, because Huey was always the what I would say the low end, you know, the low end of the totem pole, and seen as the weakling, and so now he feels so empowered that he's definitely getting off on it.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if Butcher actually gets addicted to that. You know, if all of a sudden he really wants to continue with that type of power.
Don't think so, because that one scene with Maeve and him, and they're talking and how he hates soups, and she goes, oh, you love the power? He goes, no. She goes, you must have felt great killing Gunpowder the way you did. And he said no. And he just started showing his detest of soups, and then obviously they get, he gets some nookie from Maeve, which I think would be a funny twist of fate if, his wife or his ex-wife or dead wife at this point had a kid with Homelander. What if Maeve gives birth to Butcher's kid?
Oh man.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Nobody was whipping out a super duper rubber at that point, and I don't think Butcher at that point was even on V-24 He might have had residual stuff in his system, but
I think he at least had to have some residual because she was throwing him around like a rag doll. And so I think this is where I'll disagree with you a little bit. I think he might get a little addicted to it and the coming down from it, because I think he's kept taking it. And we're going to find out maybe later, because, Huey, we keep seeing the reaction the next day, but we didn't see that from Butcher this time. So I don't know if he's kept taking it. So we'll have to, we'll have to see, but.
Yeah, I have a feeling that something's got, when the first time he took it, you definitely saw that he has some kind of residual side effects. And this time it seems like he's not, and it seems like his body's getting used to it. So I'm just wondering if can he stop? So, and if he can't, then he's going to have to rely on it all the time. So that would be very interesting. Like I said, I never read, I don't know how close to the comic book they're keeping this show, but I'll be very interested in knowing what that outcome of him, dealing with, V24, and then and also Huey, because I know Huey seems like the type that he will get carried away with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He definitely is. He had that look on his face. He had that smile. And he was so eager in front of Crimson Countess's trailer at the trailer park when he wanted to take it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like itching. I was like, just give it to me,
Yeah.
And I definitely see Huey being addicted to it. And
yeah, and again, it's the fact that he was, like I said, he was known as the weakling of the group, but it's also the fact that his girlfriend is one of the superheroes.
Yep.
And I'm sure he feels very emasculated because of all that. So by him having this V, he's just I'll be very interested to see how much of a mess that's going to be for him.
Oh, it's already a mess, because she knows. And when he actually tells her, he sits her down, he gets all her favorite candies, gets her White Claw. And then as he tells her, she freaks out. He goes, but, I told you the truth straight off.
Right.
Because of course it had come around because he didn't have his cast on. And she goes, wait, you don't have your cast on,
Exactly.
I just love how the fact, it's like before that, at one point, Homelander was giving him the whole, he just walks in on them before he goes on that field trip with Butcher, before he started taking the V. Mm-hmm. Homelander writes his whole name on his cast.
Yeah.
And then starts like questioning right in, like, to Starlight, Annie, and says, it's like asking about how he is sexually and this and that. And it's like, and then she's like standing up for him, and you could see within his face he wants to run. He wants to get away, but he was trying to like stand up to him as well. If you looked, he kind of stood fast and was ready to do something, but he knew he'd be dead in a heartbeat if Homelander did something. Which we already know he already did something, because later on we get it by episode 5, I think, where, Supersonic eats it.
Yeah, no, it's the very end of episode 4 is where we see Supersonic's dead body.
Because he shows it to Annie, and basically he knew what was going on, that people are against him. Maeve, her, I think he had a hint of it from A-Train or even from Deep. At a certain point, because they know. But let's talk about Deep and A-Train too, because we get that wonderful fight in the hallway, and they're scrapping, and there we get this fight, and it's them throwing out certain things about each other towards Homelander and what they have on each other. And then, of course, the Deep is Homelander's little boyfriend. Like, well, come on, I'll stick up for you, and it just, and the way Homelander is in general, especially what he did with Supersonic in the very beginning about the tacos. I'm like, really? You are a piece of crap. Everybody, it's very much almost like what he did with the Deep too.
Yeah.
Right.
And that last episode, on episode 3.
Yeah, it's also, like when you see that Homelander just knows that that A-Train, I mean, especially in one of the other episodes where he tells him that he's gaining weight and stuff like that. So there's just this thing where he just, if he could just, melt him with his eyes, he would. I don't know. Like when I see, it seems like everybody's just trying to get on his good side. And I mean, let me tell you, man, let's just give it up for, I would say, what is it? Anthony Starr.
Oh yeah.
My God, man. The way he goes from being a psychopath to being at some points likable too.
Mm-hmm.
As much as you hate him, there are times that you kind of like him and go, he's kind of charming sometimes.
What?
Yeah. But he goes back and forth, and with that with this character, which makes it very interesting. But
it's a very.
I'm kind of interested in the Deep though. The Deep is it keeps getting manipulated by his
wife.
His
She's
wife
always feeding him his lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
No matter what, especially when they're downsizing Vought itself.
Yeah, the
they
criminal
eliminate
analysis. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole meeting when they started talking about certain things, and then Homelander is approached by the one woman that's on the board, and basically he felt like an idiot because he didn't know exactly what she was talking about, and it was based upon analytics within about the Seven and how it would be for the public.
Right. How it's going to affect share prices and
exactly
and credit ratings and those kind of things. And yeah, it's Homelander's definitely in over his head in this, whichever, I guess he's taken over kind of the president role because Ashley is the CEO. And so I'm not sure what exactly his position is, but it really, as we were talking about just now, it's really, I think of like George Clooney in the Ocean's movies. It's a very Danny Ocean kind of charming way of killing everybody else's plans or figuring out everybody else's plans and then twisting it. Just like with Victoria Newman, where, Stan Edgar thought she was going to out Homelander, but it ended up, he turned the tables on him. It just seems like he's always this season is all about Homelander kind of turning the tables on everybody and putting himself in a good position again. Whereas in the last season, we kept seeing him being put down. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the season ends, where Homelander's at, if he's at a high or at a low at the end of the season.
Right. And what's interesting about all that is just how, you always have, of course, he gets Edgar gets, steps down. But when Homelander goes into like the board meeting, like Edgar tells, I remember Edgar telling, Homelander, well, we'll see how you do in this position, basically, because everybody sees him as, just this powerful, spoiled, but, so Homelander thinks that, I can handle this very easy. And all of a sudden he's in the board meeting. You could see that he's so underqualified for that position. And he just, you could see that he's about to like just lose it. But everybody's trying to kind of please him. And, but all these questions coming around, he felt like they were putting a foot on him, especially in the last season. But in this case, now that he's empowered, to, be in charge, all of a sudden now when he's in that board meeting, you could still see that he feels that way anyway. Yeah. And that was really cool. I was like, oh, okay. He still doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
No, he doesn't. No, not at all.
I know we talked a little bit about it already, but that fight scene in the Russian mobster's mansion where Kimiko's using the dildos and is just bloody and crazy and awesome. And that Russian cover of I Will Survive is playing, was just great. And then she gets shot by the in the head. Yeah. And we see like the Wolverine thing where the bullet comes out. Was just great. And
that's dildo fight I've ever seen. Not that I've seen many, but
but yeah, I just love what this show does. And there was a lot of cuts in it, so it wasn't one of those what do they call that? Continuous fight scenes, but it was just really good. The way it was edited and the way that the stunts did it and everything was just amazing. I thought it was a really, really cool fight scene. And then the same thing at the end of the episode when they're in the lab and Billy reveals that he's got powers. He steps out and he starts getting shot and Marvin's just watching him, and then he uses the laser eyes and then Huey revealing that he's got powers, and he punches that guy through the chest and saves Marvin's life. MM, thank you. Saves Marvin's life. I thought was great.
Yeah, I it's funny we talk about that fight scene in with the prostitutes. What were the names? I had them written down, but we already mentioned it in the synopsis. But there was other ones there too.
There was the one for the Deep, and there was one for Black Noir, and
yep. I had them all written down. I can't find them in my notes, but it's funny. I wrote them all down because that is hilarious. I got to talk about that because the fact that somebody actually came up with those and made them for the show.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the writer's room? Imagine the writer's room is like, all right, I came up with 3 names. Can somebody else come up with the rest? And that was just probably like an hour of, I could just imagine the stuff they left on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just loved it. They, also with Ashley too, because she had one of her own, but it was a strap-on when she had her little conversation with one of the employees, and he was just complying, and then she realized, oh, I could be a domineering person here. And I'm like, the glint and gleam out of Colby Minifie's face when she stated all that, I just was like, oh my God. And Steve, the first thing I thought was Jerry's going to be like, wow. I love her.
Yeah, our friend Jerry.
Our friend Jerry loves Colby Minifie.
Very, very cool.
But and to talk about, we talked about A-Train. A-Train's little advertisement within that. You're thinking that he's just walking out of the Vought building, and then he's, oh, hold on. And as soon as I'm like, wait a minute, this is going to be a commercial and that. Some sort of advertisement for, it's his energy drink. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I'm like, all right.
I'll tell you, I actually got psyched out for it because at first I thought it was something within the actual show itself, because he goes, hold on, for the filming, like I guess they were trying to film or something. And then he said, hold on, something important's going on.
Yeah.
But then I saw what they were doing and I was like, oh, this is one of his commercials.
Yeah. That whole peace rally thing. And the subplot with A-Train going into episode 5 is another one that we're going to watch play out through the rest of the season, I'm sure, because
think so.
What happened with his brother and Blue Hawk. And I don't know, how is he going to respond to Blue Hawk? Because we heard Blue Hawk talking to the newscasters and straight up lied about somebody having a gun in the community center. He said, oh, this person pulled their gun, and that's why I reacted the way I did. But he maimed and killed like
a bunch of people.
2 or 3, 4 people in that community center, and Vought's just going to cover it up. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. After they donated some money to it. And it's like, and then he's trying to defend it. Blue Hawk at the end. Somebody's going to wind up taking him out. It's either A-Train's going to run into him and leave a big splat when he's not looking, or they're going to wind up bringing him into Vought directly, which would be, whoa, don't do that. And then you're just inciting more racism at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, this show crosses the line in so many ways that, I wouldn't be surprised if, they bought him in.
I want to talk about Marvin for a minute here. Mother's Milk. I loved how in episode 4 we get the kind of it's a telling in a way by Billy of why he and Mallory brought Marvin into the boys, because of his relationship with his men and his unit, and how he would be with the boys. He would be the one it made my NCO heart like swell a little bit thinking of Marvin, because that's the role that we were we were supposed to have, or the sergeants were supposed to have, is of building people up and bringing them in, and then to see the crash in episode 5 when he realizes that Soldier Boy is alive and Soldier Boy is out again, and we're watching him, and even his reaction to those videos of what they were doing to Soldier Boy, you could tell that even for him, it wasn't enough, because we get that flashback that he was there when Soldier Boy killed his family, and he's covered. They show him covered in blood as a child. And I was just, my heart broke for him, and just can't wait to see again how this is going to play out the rest of the season with Marvin. Because what is he going to do? He doesn't want to take the V, but he wants to end these soups, because I've got the quote from episode 5 down in my notes where he says, I'm gonna say it now because I thought it's the whole point, Butcha. The whole GD point of what we do is that no one should have this kind of power. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was great, but there's going to be a conflict with his character in trying to figure out how do we fight this soup if we don't have powers.
Yeah, and it makes sense from Butcher's point of view, because they need that kind of strength. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what he realized once he saw Soldier Boy. And especially what he did, Soldier Boy did to Kimiko. Plus what Soldier Boy did in the city when they got to meet Paul Reiser, who played Soldier Boy's, what was it? His publicist?
He was the bot publicist in the 80s.
Yes.
He was the publicist for all the heroes in the 80s. I didn't even recognize Paul Reiser. I'm going to admit I had to do the Amazon video thing. Go, who is that? Go, that's Paul Reiser. But it was just his character was so over the top, and talking about all of his old stories and things, and then showing them his leg, and being like,
oh my God. Some of the great quotes that he came out with, were just insane. I mean, he was just such a entertaining character. And you never thought you would see Paul Reiser. I mean, besides, the movie Aliens, where he played an asshole. But, but other than that, he always plays the nice guy. But on this, he was just, he was a raunchiest person there. Yeah. And then it was just like his stories, like you could tell that felt to me more like, if you guys remember the Studio 54 stories that you will hear back then. So it just seems like he is part of that era, and all the debauchery that happened in that time, so he's that character. I liked him a lot, and I hope I get to see more of him.
Yeah. He just his stories alone too, with all the people. He said something, goes, so that would be gay, right? Nowadays, who cares?
Yeah. Talking about what was he? He said Marlon Brando was balls deep in him, and he was balls deep in somebody else. And,
yeah.
Just like, oh my goodness. Yeah. What,
I think he was talking about Kelly. He was talking about Kelly LeBrock, and I was laughing because I was like, yeah, well, Kelly LeBrock, a great looking woman back then.
In the den.
Yeah, Shannon Tweed,
right?
All the people that all the 80s.
Two words, Shannon Tweed.
Right.
Google it. I just thought it was great.
Because he knows Huey's too young to know all this stuff at this point.
Right.
Which makes me laugh too, because if you think Jack Quaid is very young. All right. Well, just to let all our listeners know, yes, those dildos were definitely made. Yes, Star Spangled Banger and the Deep's Flower Pounder and Black Noir Silent Screamer, they are not available on Amazon to purchase. So do not look.
Some Etsy page is gonna figure it out.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty
Although
sure.
You never know, they might be on BestBuy.com.
There you go. Oh
my goodness! If nobody knows, Best Buy all of a sudden started selling sex toys too. So, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
I want to talk about the one for me. I kind of had a hint of it the first time I watched it, but definitely the second time I watched it, I picked up on it. There's a huge hole for me in this story that really bothered me, particularly the second time I watched it. And that's we have Soldier Boy almost naked coming out of this tube and running away. And Billy saying, okay, he's the Kremlin's problem now. But then the very next scene, we see him
in New York.
We see him get out of a plane. We see him in a tracksuit with a suitcase or something over his shoulder that he had crawled into some sort of Russian cargo plane, and was able to sneak into the United States. And for me, I'm like, why not show us that? Show us how he figured that out, because, he looked very deranged until he was able to go to Paul Reiser's character and shave and get his suit and stuff. But just that, for me, that was a big hole of going from he's the Kremlin's problem to suddenly he's got clothes, he's got luggage, and he's jumping out of a cargo plane in the middle of New York.
Maybe we'll get that question answered next episode. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But then again, from what I'm told and read, it's going to be the most craziest and zaniest episode that we've ever seen. And they say if you're easily offended, don't watch it.
Oh, well.
What, number 6?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right. That's tomorrow
morning.
I can't wait.
Tomorrow morning. Tonight.
Herogasm, it's entitled.
Well, listen, I mean, when you start the season with
with termite going into somebody's phallus.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then just blowing him up, it's one of those things where you go, well, shit, how much crazier can it get? And I was hearing an interview with a guy who played Mother's Milk, and they asked him, they said, hey, how much crazier will it get? And all he said was, it from 1 to 10, this is a 20 as it keeps going.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. So.
Yeah, well, considering last season, the biggest thing that we saw in the teaser was the whale blowing up and all of them inside it. And, because the Deep was trying to show his bravado about it, but, but now it gets worse and worse.
Yeah. By the way, what is it, Paul Reiser? I guess they used to call him the Legend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys actually said that or not. I'm like looking at it here, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I couldn't figure out, because at first he said the Legend, and then Marvin just kept saying Legend, because just calling him Legend instead of the Legend. So I don't know if there was a specificity there or not. But
yeah. Just to mix in a few things that I like too. There's a couple of quotes that I liked, especially with Huey asking, "Where did you get the V?" to Butcher, and the one thing that Butcher says is, one of those websites, boners for days.
Yeah, and I had one when Billy tells Kimiko she's got to go do the killing for Nina. He says, "Sorry, love, victim of your own success."
Yeah, Homelander had a cool one, but it was kind of foreshadowing because Ashley winds up using it later with her employee, which I thought was funny. And he says, "Is your idiot brain being fucked by stupid? It's not rhetorical." And then we find her doing that later on.
Right.
And that was, the reason why he did that was because Ashley didn't find out about Victoria Newman's press conference about Edgar. And then it wasn't really about Edgar. It was supposed to be about Homelander. And that's when we get the double cross. And then obviously by the end of the episode, we know that Homelander had something on, of all things, Victoria Newman, who had her own child who suffers from, I don't know if she's a soup or she just has a rare disease. And on top of that, Homelander knows, he goes, "Oh, well, yeah, I could see it in your eyes. You want to blow up my brain right now." Mm-hmm. So he knows of her powers. So Homelander is that psychotic that he's actually utilizing his powers to influence others because he feels like he's untouchable.
Right.
And that's the reason why I think Soldier Boy is going to be this thing that actually not destroy Homelander, but humanizes him or makes him human. And it'll be interesting if we get to that point where, what if they get a twist of fate in this where Soldier Boy is being used by Butcher he takes out Homelander. Homelander is turned human, and Soldier Boy takes over the Seven. You know, we don't know. These are questions that are come up. I'm just speculating in a sense because of how strong Soldier Boy is.
Yeah.
And he can't fly, as we know. He has super strength. He's got the laser eyes. He could...
I didn't realize how powerful his character was until they started mentioning him so much in the end. You know, it's like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was, you know, at that level.
Yeah, he was on par. He was definitely on par with Homelander. And now he's surpassed, almost to a point where he's surpassed Homelander, because whatever that nuclear explosion that he's able to do, because remember, Butcher had the Geiger counter. And that's that they're like getting the radiation going. So he's, you know, what did Butcher say? Somebody, he had Chernobyl shoved up his his rear end. But yeah, so it's again, it's going to be interesting to see, because he seemed to, and this is again, I hate to quibble about these little things because they're not that big a deal, but he seemed to transition very quickly into this world. You know, if he's been held by the Russians for this long, we don't know how much exposure he's had to the outside world. It really seemed like he didn't. When he was walking around New York, it seemed like he had no exposure because, you know, then he just hears the Russian music and it sets him off.
Yeah.
And then
it's kind of like a PTSD.
Mm-hmm. And then the next thing we see, he's in his uniform. He's using his powers. And I'm just like, okay, this is a jump we made here that.
Yeah, we didn't get any answers. It's not a Steve Rogers thing where he had to learn to adapt over time. He just follows through. You know, I'm wondering if anybody showed him how to use Uber or Lyft to get to the Legends house. The one thing about Soldier Boy too, in the very beginning of that particular episode, of all things, you do get the whole time frame of where Soldier Boy was originally from, because it's in the 70s, late 70s or mid 70s to late 70s into the 80s. Because he's on Solid Gold singing Blondie's Rapture.
You're right. So I guess he's only been held by the Russians for about 40 years. Not as long as
That's still a long time.
It's still a long time. And things, the world has progressed a lot since, I think they said 1984 was 83 or 84 was when he died, and I'm putting air quotes.
It disappeared.
Yeah, or disappeared. How we want to put it. Yeah. So you're right. So it's still, but the world has changed a lot since then.
Well, it changed within the past 20 years in technology for all of us at this point.
Yeah.
So for him, this is exponentially a change for him. But the world still hasn't changed based upon people in general and how they communicate and talk, unless he walks up to somebody and they have a cell phone to their face and he doesn't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, getting around, transportation still hasn't changed. Airplanes, cars.
Well, it's the way transportation, cars and all that. I mean, they're still there. It's just, it's different in the sense of, you know, like, cars are now, I don't know, better performance, a lot more comfortable. There's a lot more technology in it. So I think that those little things is what he'll probably be going like, oh, okay, this is different. Like he, just like everything else that he says, you know, like, or everything he sees. Mm-hmm. World is the same, except these slight different things. They're just like, oh, wait a minute, what the hell happened?
Sorry, I just saw that Rob changed his Zoom name. I lost it in the middle of your speech.
The Star Spangled Banger. There you go. Oh.
I did that in the beginning.
Did you? I just saw it. I just noticed it now. I don't know. We're like however long we're in. I just noticed it now. The only other quote I kind of had a quote. The one from Billy where he says, "With great power comes the absolute certainty that you'll become a right," and then he uses the C word.
Yep, that is true. And actually, a lot of people got offended because they were taking that from Spider-Man, kind of that feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, just grow up.
Get over it, folks.
I know. Exactly. Oh, there's also stuff on the internet regarding the boys too that I looked and I just shrugged and I'm like, really? Because you got a lot of the people who are into Trump and all that, or right wings, and they're upset about the show and how Anthony Starr is, and they're trying to equate it to Trump, and then they're upset. I'm like, really? It's a show.
I can get over it. They can get over it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a show, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, it's a story. Don't put your political beliefs into the show.
Exactly. Just like we talked about with that parody of the NRA convention a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah,
right?
To me, I found it humorous, but you and I are both advocates of the NRA.
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious too. I wasn't offended by it. I was just like, yeah, there's actually some. I mean, not exactly. It's more safe than what that show.
Yeah,
what they showed.
They made it ludicrous. Is what they did.
Ludicrous, but I'm okay with that. Hey, make fun of people. Don't take yourself so seriously. Come on, lighten up.
I have a couple from Butcher that I like, the quotes from episode 5. One of them, it's like when Butcher sees Huey vomiting after the V-24, and he goes, "Looks like Kermit the Frog had a right wank in your mouth."
Jesus. Yeah, that's I will say that this show has some great quotes. I mean, just like I said, the dialogue is just amazing. The writing's amazing, but like the stuff that Butcher comes out with, just incredible.
Oh, especially what he says to Mother's Milk when MM's telling him, how stated no one should have those powers after finding, that Billy and Huey had taken them. And and Butcher just goes, "Well, ain't that just fucking fairies and dancing dildos,
Ron, what does he say to Maeve? He says something about y'all are walking nuclear erections. We got to get rid of all of you. So we kind of talked about the addiction side of this, but I think what we're going to see, if we get to see an addiction kind of storyline between the two of them, Huey and Butcher, I think what we're going to see is Butcher is going to be the addict who hates himself for being an addict.
Correct.
But he still craves the drug, and Huey's going to be the addict who wants it, who's
more and more.
Yeah, wants it more and more. So it'll be interesting to see Carl Urban and Jack Quaid play this part. Like I said, if they take it down in a kind of an addiction kind of road for them, because I could definitely see. I don't mean. I'm kind of going back on what I said earlier, that I don't really disagree with what you're saying about that Billy hates himself, but I think that's exactly it. I think Billy hates himself for taking the V. And so I can totally see him being that kind of addict who hates himself but can't get away from the drug.
Yeah, right. He won't be able to stop, but yet he'll just look when he looks at himself in the mirror, he just won't be able to stand who he sees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's just in his opinion, in his mindset, he's just using it to get rid of, to even the odds with the soups that they're trying to go after. So that way they're not ones getting hurt, because he already seen what happened with the devastation from last season.
Mm-hmm.
Because, his wife died due to circumstances of all
that. We haven't really talked a little bit about what really happened to Maeve. Where do we think she is? Obviously, she's not at a rehab center.
Nope.
It looked like Black Noir or somebody like that kind of grabbed her after Homelander kind of looked over her shoulder. What do you think? Do you think we're going to see her again, or is she done?
I think we're going to see her again, but I think Homelander is probably going to have her at a certain point. Mm-hmm. He might take her hostage because he knows, and she definitely hates him. Already pointed that out with her little speech towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And Homelander already knows that Starlight and a few others, that he's gonna obviously A-Train and the Deep, but he's manipulating them. He could easily put her aside and then just have him show up, Starlight show up, because Starlight's just gonna pose the public media as them together just to playing along, because she doesn't want Huey dead either. Mm-hmm. So he might just hold her away, and then Noir and everybody else could do whatever they need to. I wouldn't be surprised if we see limbs missing on her and being held against her will, and then eventually they use a media mogul to say, well, she died on this mission. How? Right. Some villain that we don't know of, and they could always say, Butcher did it, because they'll publicize Butcher being the one coming after them.
Yeah, it could be that, or Soldier Boy that they'll blame on it. Something like that. And I have a feeling that that's exactly what they'll probably do is they'll look for an excuse to use Soldier Boy again, as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved in one scene in episode 5 with Ashley, with her assistant Ashley, and her assistant is ending her sentences.
Yeah,
for her. the character has got like a mini me with her at this point. I just love the Seth Rogen cameo.
Yes. Oh yeah, Crimson Countess as a
that was so
girl.
Surprising.
As a webcam, she's a cam girl, and I'm like, and the fact is when Soldier Boy walked in, she goes, "Oh, you look so young," and he goes, "You don't." And then she was just like offended. I'm like, wonder if Laurie Holden really did take offense to that.
Nah, they well, I don't think they did, but
Yeah.
that would be interesting, right?
Yeah. That's all right.
No, but that was a good scene. Like I said, and it was funny how Seth Rogen just got so into the role that he was doing. I was like, well, yeah,
stop.
that's him.
yeah.
And then she was zapped or whatever in the chair, and he goes, "What's happening? What's happening?" Oh. And that was it. Oh, you got his money's worth,
Yeah.
I guess. Last time he'll see that, though.
Yeah.
I'll be very curious to see, because when you have like people like that, like Seth Rogen, just appear for like a few seconds or something like that, I'll be very curious to see how, this, of course, this season is getting great reviews, but if it goes into a 4th and 5th season, how many cameos are we going to see from other celebrities just because they want to be in it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jeffrey D. Morgan actually made a comment last year when they were filming, because he would have loved to join on the fun, but he's already contracted out for AMC at this point. He's filming more closer to home right now. So they start filming in like two or 3 weeks now in the city and up in Newburgh area where the studios are. So he's closer to home, so he's not going to want to fly to Atlanta anymore.
Yeah, like I say, he'll probably do a cameo or something.
It is going to be interesting to see who shows up as cameos, because we know I was just rewatching something else that the last season of it had a bunch of celebrity cameos. It just like came out of the woodwork out of nowhere. It just had to be because they were fans of the show. And it's escaping me what I've rewatched a few things here recently.
Oh man. Yeah, you just triggered something in me that I remember something like that too.
It'll kill me not to remember what show it was, but I just remember seeing cameo after cameo, and I'm going, man, this is a lot of it looked like every episode had 1 or 2, and you're like, where are these guys just showing up out of nowhere? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see next season what the boys do and where they go, and to see how this to see how this season plays out. We're getting close. We're not quite halfway. Well, I guess we are halfway through with that. Or almost. Yeah, we got 3 more episodes.
Yeah, we got 3 more. We're almost there. Just like with Miss Marvel, as we're counting down to, it's just 6 episodes of that.
Yeah, I just watched that. I just watched that 3rd episode just a little while ago before getting on to recording. That was a great episode. And
what a charming show that is. It's made me miss the teenage girl in me.
I do. It's a good palate cleanser for the boys, because I watched both. I watched part of episode 4, and then I watched episode 5 again earlier today, and I was just like, okay, I need something as a palate cleanser. Oh, let me go and throw on Miss Marvel, because I haven't watched it yet this week. And,
it's really nice. I mean, I've been very surprised. I mean, I started reading the comic books, and the only thing that I would say that's kind of different is just the origin of where she's getting her powers. Other than that, it's like I said, I think the cast is phenomenal on that. It's just very, like I said, very charming show that I think it's a feel good show, I think, which is something that we probably need nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a fun show. Yeah, I do enjoy it, and I'm curious to what we get at the end. at the very end of the season, maybe a cameo by somebody, because as we all know, it's going to be called the Marvels for Miss Marvel 2, I believe. Right. And you're going to have Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and whatever Monica Rambeau's character will be called.
Right.
And they'll probably do the same thing they did with Obi-Wan towards the very last episode, in the very last minute. You get that cameo of somebody. So,
yeah. And to show some love to our podcast friends out there, too, House Podcastica actually is covering Obi-Wan. So if you guys out there are interested, go to the Podcastica Network and check out that for House Podcastica for all the Obi-Wan coverage that they're doing. They're having a great time. The last episode was pretty cool. I thought it was fun to hear from somebody actually who was in the prequel trilogy and they were in the Clone Wars as a Jedi.
Mm.
So they had an interview with somebody on that who was there. I don't know how they got that or who knew that person. I think it was Rich or somebody that knew them. And they were able to get them on. So they talked about their experience in filming those prequels and being a Jedi.
Yeah.
That's absolutely great.
I need to check out Obi-Wan. It slipped through the cracks for me. I've got to go ahead and probably binge it now that it's done. But
that's right. You've been on vacation, so you haven't been able to.
I had that 3 week. I had that long vacation where I didn't watch anything really for like 3.5 weeks. So
yeah, you're all over the place. You were seeing nature and having fun with the family.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's all. I lost my train of thought. There was something I was going to go talk about, and I just completely lost it. So.
Well, also to send out a little bit more love.
Oh, that's what it was. A little bit of love for TV podcast industries, because I don't know if you and I both forgot, or you just forgot to mention that male agent from the Department of Damage Control, that's correct. The agent who arrests Peter Parker in No Way Home.
Awesome.
They said that on their podcast, and I went back and looked it up and went, oh yeah, that's the same guy. So we have that actual official tie-in to, like you were mentioning, the woman agent has a tie-in also, but he was the one that arrested Peter Parker. So
that is correct. Yeah.
And also too with Miss Marvel, to talk about that. Remember the shoe thief at the mosque?
Mm-hmm.
That was the kid that was dangling off the top of the mosque.
Oh, that was just the kid
really?
That said, the kid that talked about the shoe thief was the same kid. I don't think he's the actual thief, because they talk about it.
They've confirmed that on an interview recently.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that part of it. Yeah, because today this week's episode talked about the shoe thief as well. So
yeah. So I'm thinking they were like, oh, okay. So spoilers for those people, but it's fun. All right. To show a little bit more love to our podcast friends, Rima and Paik on Strange Indeed, covering Stranger Things. Rima can't hold back. She wants to go binge watch the rest of it, but she has to do it episodically like we do.
Yep.
So, and talking about podcasting on, I'm pretty sure, like Jason and everybody else in podcasting are going to do it. Umbrella Academy has dropped. So they dropped the whole season on us on Netflix.
Right.
I'm refraining a little bit. I'm probably going to watch it with me, my memory, and how I can't really remember too much. I'll probably watch it, but we're going to start our coverage probably within the next 2 weeks. Yeah. We're going to do a few more, and then we'll do that.
And we had talked about, and I think another one of the podcast, whether it's Strange Indeed or House Podcastica, I think it's Strange Indeed. They're actually going to do it as a spoiler full podcast, to where they are going to go week to week, but they're going to binge it, or they're not going to give any kind of they're not going to do like what they're doing now with Stranger Things, where they're not watching ahead. From what I understand, I saw their post that they're going to go ahead and they may go ahead and just watch ahead and then have a spoiler full podcast, I think. So I hope I'm not speaking out of turn on that, but I thought I read that on their Strange Indeed Facebook page. So
yeah, I'm curious to how many of us will be covering it. I know that we did it the one year we did it for last season.
Mm-hmm.
It was us, Strange Indeed, and TV Podcast Industries.
And I think who else was it? I think TV Podcast Industries is doing it also. Strange Indeed. I'm sure there's there's plenty of. I don't know if there's any on our networks that are doing it.
We're the only ones at this point. Yeah, we're the only comic people on Next Level Online Radio Podcast Network. So I think Ben likes it that way. But then again, Ben's always welcome to come in and jump in the pool. He did, he did DC Primetime.
Yep.
DC, yeah. What was it called?
DC Primetime. You got it.
Oh, okay, I got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which everybody could go back and listen to because that was all the CW stuff.
Yep.
But all right, so I think we talked a lot about this particular episode. The only thing, these two episodes. The one thing I would highly recommend to you out there, if there are any of you are fans that love our artwork for the podcast itself, the stuff that Podcastica actually does for their artwork, which the artist is Kirk Manley. He did the artwork for Panels to Pixels podcast as well as Adrenaline Cinema podcast now. So I have him on both of my podcasts, the artwork. So you can check that out. But in Astoria, Queens, starting this Saturday, which would be the 25th of June, all the way until January 1st, 2023, they're going to have at the Museum of the Moving Image, they're going to have a whole Walking Dead retrospective about how it influenced us over the past 12 years. The Saturday, which will be the 25th, you're probably not going to get it until too late. I'm not sure if he's going to make another appearance again after that. But since Kirk's art is going to be on display because he did all of the Walker Stalkers and he was so influential within The Walking Dead itself during all the promotion and media, he has provided a dedicated poster for this particular Living with the Walking Dead exhibit that's going to be at the Museum of Moving Image in Astoria, Queens. So it's $20 to get in for adults. You have to schedule it. And it's a pretty long walkthrough. I think it's a good hour. And they will have a shop there too where you could buy his poster. This Saturday, like when I'm going on the 25th, he'll be there to sign. I'm just there to show some support to Kirk while he's there. And I'll be wearing my Panels to Pixels shirt as well.
Very cool.
Nice.
So check that out if you can. Throw some support to Kirk Manley too, but his information will be in the podcast notes as always. All right, so well, let's move on to, well, where can other people hear us? Steve?
Well, I'm obviously right here on Panels to Pixels. And also I send voicemails out to various podcasts that our friends do. We've mentioned some of them here, Strange Indeed, TV Podcast Industries, what WTF is from, also on the Podcastica Network. So you might hear my voice pop up on one of those podcasts someday.
Rob?
And you can hear me on, Fantasy Picks Movie Edition. So we are actually, we just finished covering Fantastic Four. Ooh.
Ooh, which one?
The last one that came out with yeah, exactly. So that was interesting. We torture ourselves because that's pretty much what it is. We torture ourselves to watch these movies that were so overhyped, and so we just feel like, hey, we got to talk about them, and you know what? Play a little bit of a filmmaker, and do our own fantasy picks on who will we pick, to play the parts, or who directs it and things like that. So we have a lot of fun with that. So
nice.
Yeah, you could hear us on all the podcasting apps out there. So
cool. And as always, you could hear me on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast on the Pyrocore Entertainment Network. There you could actually hear or see, actually on the website, on the Pyrocore Entertainment Network.com site, you could actually see Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, Run for Your Lives, and Watched It in the 80s. With Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, you guys all know we talk about fantasy, action, thriller, suspense, all those films, anything to get your adrenaline running. I just finished recording this past week Contact with our friend Lizzie for Aim from the Head, and we have fun with that. It was not Not only the movie was 2.5 hours, the podcast was 2.5 hours too. So, as always, you can always check me out on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. Coming up, eventually we'll be doing The Angry Red Planet. Steve and I will be doing Predator. After that, we'll be doing the sequel that's coming out to Hulu soon, which is called Prey. I have a lot of other films that'll be in the mix to be covering with a bunch of variety of different people. So you can check me out on any podcast player of choice, as always. So, and there you could actually send feedback if you like. And to get to feedback, Steve, can you start to tell us how they could submit their feedback?
Sure. If you would like to, obviously, as Mark just said, you're listening to us on your podcast player of choice. If there's a chance to give us a review on there, we would love for you to give us a review. We'll give you a shout out here on the podcast. We also have a website, panels2pixelspodcast.com. We have a Facebook group, which is just facebook.com/panels2pixels. We are on Twitter at panels, 2 and pixels. So that's at panels, 2 and pixels. Also, you have an email address, which is panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1. The TO is spelled out right there in the middle, and the number 1@gmail.com. And then we are on YouTube as Panels 2 Pixels Podcast. Don't confuse us with just Panels 2 Pixels. We are Panels 2 Pixels Podcast. You can go on there, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, do whatever you want. Interact with us there. We'll get a message. Also, we're on Instagram at Panels 2 Pixels Podcast, all spelled out. So those are all the various ways you can get a hold of us, and we would love to hear from any of our marvelous listeners.
Exactly. And you can check out all the other podcasts on the Next Level Podcast Network. We highly recommend them all. Wilhelm with Ben Beck, The Melting Pat, Podcast Zero, and so much more. Just go to nextlevelradioonline.com and check them all out there. There'll be links there for you to follow. And coming up, well, next episode definitely will be The Boys, and we'll be covering it, and it's entitled Herogasm.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yep.
And following that, of course, Miss Marvel. So, well, that was a fun bit. I love having this where it's like the three of us, but, we were just spitballing everything. I had a good time. It was fun.
Yeah.
So, I just want to thank Rob for being on.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
I want to
It's always
thank
fun.
everybody for listening. I am Mark.
I'm Steve.
And I am Rob.
And this was Panels to Pixels Podcast, and we'll see you on the next panel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Star Spangled Banger signing off.